Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. I've got a new job. I took over the virtual display tables competition for the Bournemouth Orchid Society, and I volunteered for that, and I volunteered for something else as well. I'm not that busy at the moment. I'm really not. Anyway, it's called Jobs for the Month. Now, at a normal meeting, towards the end, somebody gets up the front with the microphone and goes over jobs for the month. And predominantly, it's aimed at people who grow in greenhouses. And the poor individuals that grow in the home, because that's the only choice they've got, or live in an apartment, they're normally completely forgotten, as though they don't exist. And yet they are members of the society. Anyway, I thought I'd read it out. It's been sent off. The guy who does the newsletter may make some changes, because he is often one of those that does jobs for the month. He's been doing it donkey's years, whereas this is my first go. So anyway, this is what I would have said had I had a meeting to go to and stood up front. Right, growing in greenhouses and conservatories. Depending on what genus of orchids you grow, most shading should be off by now, with the possible exception of sides that get direct sun for any length of time. If you have a variety of orchid types, including some that prefer it a little shady, try moving them to the side away from the sun, and they may well get some shade from the plants that love the light. The days are at their shortest, and unless some sun actually hits the glass, temperatures are low, and night temps can be very low, including below freezing. Your heating should be set via a thermostat to whatever winter minimum temperature, night temperature you require, depending on what you grow, and should be checked against a separate thermometer to check that all is well. It's very easy to rely on your thermostat doing the job when in fact it could be out. You know, if it's out by 5 degrees or something like that, you could be doing some damage. So, sorry, that bit wasn't in there, I just added that bit. Right, where did I get to? Most greenhouses don't normally suffer from low humidity this time of year. In fact, it could even be too high, which with low temperatures can cause some mould and rotting. Maybe a precautionary fungicide may be in order. No matter how well you think you have sealed your greenhouse, the chances are slugs and snails will enter and need to be dealt with in whatever manner you see fit. I use a size 8. You may even get a visitor from a mouse. They can do a lot of damage in a very short space of time. New root tips, new growths and bloom spikes are some of their favourites, but they love buds and blooms too. Many orchids... oh, hang on, where are we? Ugh. With the short day lengths and low temperatures, watering frequencies are reduced to a minimum. Many orchids will slow right down in these conditions, some may even stop growing altogether. The one thing they don't need is soggy pots, and the chances are they won't be using much feed either. Continuously adding feed in these circumstances will lead to salt build-up in the pots, as the plants are not using the feed. This can lead to root loss. Along with soggy pots where plants are being watered too frequently, orchids will be lost. Take care. Very few orchids are lost through too little water, but many are lost through too much. However, the cooler growers will be loving the temps, but even they may slow down due to the short days. Shorter day lengths can, of course, be overcome with additional lighting, where the days can be maintained around 11 hours if you want to keep the plants ticking over, or 13 to 14 hours to keep them growing normally. If you plan on doing this, you may need to think about your minimum temperatures, as a bit more heat may be required. I keep losing my place. So a lot of that's got to keep looking at the camera, make sure I'm not pointed at my feet. Right. Right, most people will have lost all thoughts of repotting, not me. I still maintain that repotting when new roots are being produced is the best time, not a date on the calendar. Leaving a plant over winter in media that is breaking down waiting for spring is likely to cause far more damage than getting on with some nice fresh media to get those new roots into. I've recently repotted several Miltoniopsis. They will have time to recover and get some new roots on the go before the dreaded heat knocks them back again. I've also repotted several other Oncidium types and in some cases mounted them. The new growths and roots were just at the right stage, so no waiting around for me. Check that spikes are being looked after. Those that you like staked upright need to be started early so that they are not getting bent too much all at once. How many of us have just got a spike in almost the right place only to hear that dreaded click as it snaps? Remember that the VDT competition is likely to continue for some time yet. Right, growing in the home. Unless artificial lighting is being used, then the lack of natural light is the biggest problem. Some say that dirty glass can reduce light passage by over 10%. Are your windows clean? Where sun hits a window, light will travel almost to the back of the room, quite different to where it landed in the longer days. But the sun is weak and won't be there for long, so plants should be positioned to take full advantage of what is available. Whereas everyone else is reducing watering frequencies, in the home with the central heating on, you'll probably find orchid pots are drying out much quicker. Something else that will have dried right out is your air. Providing some extra humidity will improve your orchid's lot a great deal. Humidity trays and perhaps some light morning spraying may help. Take care not to leave plants between the curtains and the window after dark. The air there can drop down a lot during the night. These winter months can be a quiet time for us orchid growers, a good time to catch up on checking labels are there and readable and that our notes are up to date. Let's all hope we can have some sort of Xmas under these troubling circumstances. So that's my first go. It's normally only a sort of 5-minute slot, so you know it's not like a half-hour lecture or anything. It's just some guidance, and a lot of it is geared up to reminders because you've got to bear in mind there's probably at least half and probably heading up towards 2/3 of the members are very long-term experienced growers, but we can all be forgetful. Even the best of us will forget things now and again. Even things that we've been doing year in, year out can still slip our minds. So this session is normally a reminder session. And for the newer people, it could be, you know, a real serious bit of advice. So anyway, I just thought I'd do that for my video today. Read out my passage. The thing is, all these sort of things go in the newsletter. Well, it's only available for members, you know, and literally, I suppose 60 people see it. That's those that bother to read it. Whereas this gets it out to a lot more people. Anyway, that's that. The light's fading fast now. I can show you now what happens. That's probably a bit bright. The camera will darken that. You can see that although it's behind the clouds, the sun is just coming out from behind the tree, that bright patch there. And over to the right is a chimney stack. Yeah, that's where it sets at this time of year. Heading into December to the shortest days, it will be setting between the two houses, through that gap, which means I get a little bit more sun before it drops down. But it's, you know, by the time it comes out from behind that tree, it's incredibly weak. And I've got dirty glass, which I've just mentioned. I'm not cleaning my glass. I don't want that extra 10% of light, thank you. I don't want my leaves burnt. Anyway, so that's that. That's today done. No watering in here today. I've got on with some computer stuff. And yeah, well, I say no watering. I did have my 2 Vanders to do because they didn't get done yesterday. And even now, you think about, it's going to be dark in an hour, maybe an hour and a half at the most, and I'm still watering my Vander. That's going to go into tonight with wet roots, yeah? But the plant's not wet, so I can get away with it. Plus, when the heater comes on, the big fan comes on, so I've got air movement as well. But yeah, wet leaves, new shoots and the like going into a cold, damp night is a recipe for disaster. So if you're growing in greenhouse environments or anything like that where your temperatures drop right down at night, do try and keep your plants dry. You know, you really can get some rot set in with the low temperatures, so it's the thing. And you know, also don't keep your plants soaking wet because they'll give off humidity, which, you know, as we know, I mean, I'm up between 95 and 100% by the time I get down here in the morning. You know, it's still dark, but without Hurricane Hector coming on, I'm drying out now. There's still a little bit of moisture up in that corner, but it's nearly all gone. So I've finally got the humidity out of here. And when I come down in the morning, the glass is misted up. Whereas a week ago it was streaming. You know, there were actual puddles along the bottom there where there'd been so much water run off the glass. So I've got it down. I've got it down to a point where I'm happier now. So, okay, right. That was just a quick one, and I'll see you next time.